Hello, my name is Joseph Crudup, and welcome to my storybook. Today I want to read this book called Mariah Carey. It's the book that the lady who has been an R&B singer, a pop singer. She knows everything about the music when she was a teenager, and then back in the 1990s, she started her thing. In the early 1990s, she started her own thing. She had great talent and a great voice. And I'm gonna read to you, and I'm gonna read, and I hope you enjoyed this book that I read. Let's begin now. Chapter 1. Disney Divas. On a Tuesday evening, on April the 14th, 1998, something very special began for pop singer Mariah Carey. She and four other women in gazing evening gowns waiting backstage at the Bacon Theater in New York City. They were bound as the 5-day Divas who will perform a concert that evening called Divas Live. Diva is an entire war for goddess and goddess. And these five divas were Mariah, Aretha Franklin, Callan Dunn, Flora Eckford, and Sean Tom. Combined, the five had recorded over the 2 dozen numbers one hits, won nearly 2 dozens Grammy Awards, and sold over 200 million albums. Describing these five singles as divas was not a extermination. They were voted by fans the world over. Executive producer of Divas Live, Laura Executive was overjoyed. It's uncanny. It's wacky. She bubbled. These are mega superstar artists who, at the end of the day, have to know how to sing dudes. They're They're soloists. They have to figure it out who's going to sing what. Who comes in what. Who's talking in harmony. Who's talking in local voice. This is a once in a lifetime lineup. This is a lightning in a bottle. It will never happen again. The concert was a benefit, meaning that the money raised for the event would go to charity. The event was organized by and televised on the music channel VH1, which is part of the large corporation that also owns MTV, Nickelodeon, and TV Land. Many other corporations were anxious to help in this benefit concert, including Blockbuster Video, Taco Bell, and Visa. Money from the Divas Live concert went to save the music. Blanket decided to restore music education in public schools. Even before the concert, Save the Music have restored 91 musical programs, effectively 27,000 school children in New York City. Sponsors of Save the Music insist that children educated in music also develop a better mother talent and therefore performing better in their academic studies. The organizations of the program believe that music is good not only for the soul but also for the brain. Mariah Carey was one of these believers. But brain booster or not, brain boosty or not, she loved music and she could not remember a time when she did not. Mariah was the first of the five divas to perform at the Divas Live concert. The 28-year-old was century in the diva of pop music. She has sold nearly half of the women's container total of 200 million albums. and claimed more than 1 dozen of the number one hits. Jennifer Austin, the actress who plays Rachel on the hit TV show Friends, introducing the program. Then Mariah came on stage, distinctly beautiful and 5'9" tall, with long curly hair. Her wide, warm smile, which revealed her insecurity for the event. How do you like the exhibitor? She asked the diners, thrilling to show them her sleeveless, angle-length dress. This shows her pride and her chamomile ago. One broke the ice, broke the ice with the diners. One just like singing the one song and not being able to continue with her act. She occasionally had to do for television shows like The Tonight Show with Jay Leno or Jay Lake Show with David Letterman. When that happened, she felt that she just as she was hitting her stride and really getting one up. Her performance was over. Was tomorrow's didn't like this concert was not so restricted. She would get to sing 2 songs back to back. She began by singing My All, one of her special favorites, or falls, as she called them. She had written the lyrics after returning from a vacation in Puerto Rico. Walter F. Fitzgerald, Mariah's songwriting partner, and Hal Burrell composed the melody with which Leo drums. My Arm was describable as getting slutty, slow jam R&B. This particular number one hit was from Butterfly for 1997 album that critics and many fans consider her most expression. Then again on All My Arm, she switched to a remix version and rearranged the song with a more hip hop beat. To sing her next song, Make It Happen, from her 1991 album Emotions. Mariah was joined by Carl. The song was a gospel with a funky Motown beat. Even though it Make It Happen never made it to number one as a single, it was still very special to Mariah. She had written lyrics motivated by the most painful memories of her past, but the song expresses her continually fate as well. Not more than 3 short years ago, I was abandoned and alone, without a penny to my name, so very long and so afraid. No proper shoes upon my feet. Sometimes I couldn't even eat. I had to call myself to sleep, but still I had to keep on going, never knowing if I could take it, if I could make it through the night. I held on to my faith, I struggled and prayed, and now I found my way. Well, I remember wanting to wear her one pair of shoes, black lace up with holes in the soles. She also remembered her genuine hunger. We lived on about a mysterious diet of macaroni and cheese, but she desperately wanted to encourage others and let them know how her faith sustained her. The lyrics came straight from her heart and soul. Mariah was dreaming and she felt saying, make it happen. But she was a shrewd performer too. With these 2 songs, she have awfully showcasing her singing, but effortlessly translating through the styles of R&B, hip hop, gospel, and Motown. Although Gloria Estefan took the stage next, Mariah's singing was not over yet. Near the end of the concert, she joined the other 4 divas and Carol came to sing King's classic song, Natural Woman. The concert ended with all of them singing testimony. But Mariah's most thrilling moment of the entire concert came before that. In spite of all her honors and what it didn't seem possible, she was singing at Dell with Aretha Franklin and voicing Enrique's 1968 number one hit, Chain of Fools. But Franklin was a legend who had won an amazing 15 Grammy Awards, known as the Queen of Soul. She had kept Mariah glued to the radio as a child. Mariah wasn't even born yet when Enrique recorded Chain of Fools. So nothing made Mariah realize how far she had come in her own life, more than singing on stage with a giant on the mission, more like a Aretha Franklin. Number two, childhood remember. Burwell was born on March the 27th, 1970, to Alfreda and Patricia Carey. They lived on Long Island with Russell and Franz Park of New York City. The southern part of the island features white sand beaches, but the northern part, where Mariah's family lived near Huntington Bay, was hilly. The fact that her mother was a white woman of Irish district and her father was a black man of Venezuelan district meant little to Mariah's in her early years. She did not realize her brother, Morgan, and her sister Allison, both older and already in school, were being teased by. She did not understand why the family car was set on fire or why their pet dog was poisoned. Not that she knew what the was. Racial discrimination meant. But she did know that something made her mother and father argue. There was always that teasing, she said later. They just fought all the time. It was about this time that Mariah uncovered a lifelong habit of walking around on tiptoe. But there was joy at home too. Mariah's mother, Patricia, a singer with the New York Opera, sang all day long. In fact, Mariah was born just as her mother's music career was taking off. When Mariah was still toddling around the house, her mother was practicing for the role of Magdalena, the sister of the sister of the villain in the great opera Reggio. Mariah recalls how, even then, she could sense for her mother's voice, loaded from soprano to contralto, her sly maneras that Madalena was an evil chapter. Although Madalena appeared in only one act, the part was not easy. It was not easy. Madalena was one of the four chapters who sang the famous song Belle Flower del Amor, which means the father's daughter of the graces. And in town, the encounter because on stage that two of the quarters sing inside the tavern and two sing outside its walls. Perfect timing was a severity to get the timing right. Patricia practices to a recording once when her mother missed her cool. Told her was sing her line in town. She wasn't let stray. Remember Patricia proudly? The world seemed to have bossed her like a sponge. Patricia did not talk down to her lone daughter. The world wasn't denying Sesame Street. But she also learned about Mexican tones such as songs and consideration at the dinner table. The world soon provided she was somewhat spoiled by the extra attention. Her father, Ephraim, was very strict, insisting that his children speak only when spoken to. So Morgan and Allison, wide-eyed and as total, began singing as Moala, total began singing during dinner. Offered benches to the benches to the living room, but Mariah climbing up on a coffee table and warbled her song even louder. Alfred was not the same as not Ambrose, however, since Alfred will leave the family. Just 1 year later, Mariah's parents were divorced. Alfred took tried Bill Allison to live with Mariah's grandmother, and for a while he came to take Mariah for the weekends. Although the visits were very pleasant, they became frequenter and farther between. And before long, Mariah's father faded from her life. Patricia had to work very hard now, trying to continue her opera career and giving voice lessons to make extra money. When Morgan was in school, she had no choice but to take Mariah home to work. It seems only natural that she began giving Mariah voice lessons too. At only 4 years old, Mariah was singing the scales and doing all the singing and singer does in classical voice training. She never thought it was usual. This little Mariah explained, my mom always told me, you are special. You had talent. Patricia encouraged Mariah to sing snappitos from opera and Broadway musicals. Mariah learned that her name had been inspired by the song they called the Winter Morale from the Broadway musical Pink No Wagon. It was no surprise that at the age of 6, she would easily win a part in the local production of the musical song Pacific, dressing in a flopping sailor suit well battling out the song Honey Bun, part of the band. 101 pounds of fun. That's my yellow honey bun. Get a low honey bun tonight. I'm speaking of my sweetie pie. Only 6 inches high. Every inch is packed with dynamite. Her hair is blonde and curly. Her colors are holy moly. Much taller than 60 and 101 pounds. Warren dancing and gestured to the simple looks. The lines were short and punchy, but all she got to play with the musical scale. Show her off her ways and talent by exceptionally the balls tonight and dynamite. The endurance is accessory a part of her. She can see her she can see huge grins on their faces and she felt as if she were badly in love. It was the most wonderful feeling in the world for little Mariah. However, most of the rough in Mariah's childhood ended when she began school. There was there she was regularly as the little poor kid in the well-to-do neighborhood. Some whispered that she wasn't like everyone else in another way. Although her hair was curly and dark blonde, her skin was very tan. She could be the sister of that older girl, Allison Carey. Everyone knew Allison was black. Wyatt knew there was nothing wrong with being black, and she endured the stinging whispers. There were times after school when Mariah did not feel in tune and safe at home. Often her mother and Morgan wasn't at home yet, so Mariah would go inside and lock the door behind her. Sometimes older kids stood outside throwing pebbles against the windows and taunting her. They quickly disappeared if Morgan showed up. Mariah would also find relief another way. She would drown out her tornadoes with the radio, beginning at age 7. Her only babysitting was at Little Radio, where a newspaper reported about the well happening with his son years later. Although she loved all music on the radio, Mariah was most influenced by Morgan's favorite soul music. She found herself speaking out tunes of Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, two giants of soul music. She was also entangled by their successful careers. How did they start? How did they grow? What great duet they did make? Winkler had recorded many hits and was the organization of style called soul shouting, but in the mid 1970s, Winkler reaching out some soul and encompassing other musical forms, including pop, rock, gospel, blues, and R&B, or weapon blues. Stephen Wonder lived up to his name, being blind, singing, and writing to his heart. He began recording in 1963 at the age of 13. Within 2 years, he was cracking the out hit singles, most of which he wrote himself. He never seems to stop growing as an artist. Wanda was one of the first musicians to make albums that were not collectible signings, singles, but one whole musician statement, perhaps more than everyone else. Stevie Wonder was the artist Mariah wanted to be like, because she now knows she wanted to be a singer star. She would write her own music and never start growing as an artist. Meanwhile, Mariah listened emboldened and intimidated her idols. I used to take the weight off from the casting and listen to it under the cover and sing it all night. She recalled she tried to imagine Maya's repertoire, yet unbelievable high notes in her song, Loving You. Failure to this rudicated repulsion's feat just made more determining while also listening to Al Green and Anxiety's Night. She soon realized soul music was derailed from gospel music, so she explored music too. She explored gospel music too. She listened to the Clark sisters, Shelley Caesar, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, and the incorporated contemporary Mahalia Jackson. Although Jackson had died when Mariah was only 2 years old, recording preserved her extraordinarily deep, living voice. Once Mariah saw a film of Mariah singing, never had she seen so in-depth of emotion in a singer's face, on to find that she seemed to love gospel music too. Thus she said, I love that style because it's so free and real and raw. At other times she admitted, I get up and go to bed listening to gospel music. Mariah discovered that black gospel music was derailed from spirituals and the field sons of African American slaves. But her taste was not limited to gospel and soul, as born in our vocal techniques of the various artists. She also graduated on wizards of other forms of music, soul and rock and roll with one R&B. R&B was built from two early forms, jazz and the blues. Sometimes those two borrows from ragtime, and gospel, rock and roll also borrowed from country music, but bluegrass and Nashville style. She continued to develop even deeper into music's origin. The more she learned, the more she knew she loved all aspects and form of music. Music makes me instrumental but happy. She guessed it when she was older, but Mariah knew that making it in the music business was hard. Her mother loved music too, and she had to struggle to survive. Chapter 3. A hard as Mariah's mother had to work. She was sometimes home when Mariah got back from school. I get home from school, Mariah recalled, and she would have like five friends over who were jazz musicians, and I ended up singing my funny time at 2 in the morning. Most of Mariah's childhood was spent as a little adult. She socialized with her mother and her mother's friends, listening lovingly to music, experimenting with her singing, and even began to write properly. Unfortunately, her surplus talent, taste for properly, was not appreciated at school. Mariah's patent effort in the third grade was rejected by the teacher. He complained that she must have copied it because it was so well written. Some of the teachers and other parents were prejudiced and had a low opinion of Mariah. My mom was real pragmatic, so none of the parents wanted their kids to play with me. I was considered a bad influence. She recalled rejection by children her own age helped Mariah the most. In 1978, soon after Mariah turned 8, Morgan, Morgan graduated from high school and left the family. Now, Mariah and her mother were alone. Although they moved more than 10 times in the next 9 years, Patricia Carey instituted they tried to remain in the rural neighborhoods of Long Island, while children her own age, while remained the poor kid of questionable will. Although she could sing like an angel and even started in the sixth grade production of the sound of the music, she still was not accepting about her peers. Growing up, it was difficult for me to find people I connected because of all my issues. She remained bound and low, but she had her mother and her other great love music. While I recall thinking it was the light these people may not think I'm good. I'm as good as them, but I can sing. By seventh grade, Wanda had made some friends, but she had also decided she was ugly. And all this frozen hair and these bushy eyebrows, she said there. Her mother gave little instructions on how to improve her appearances. Boy explained that her mother wasn't one of those moms who dissolve you up with little flowers in your hair, in your hair. So Mariah took matters into her own hands, but instead of plucking her buzzing eyebrows, she shaved them off. Then, to make matters worse, in an attempt to make her hair over, she dyed it orange by accident and something for a few friends. She had built a shell. She had built a shell upon herself because she was sharpened by the popular kids. No matter how well she performed, she pretended she was too cool to participate in school activities. I thought I was the top club of the school, but she remembered little. then admitted, but I think that's stealing her from being insecure. Though her mother's love and her own love of music, she found peace. But now Mariah also had come to appreciate her voice as a complex, disciplined machine. She had learned her techniques well. The depth handlers enforces the lines to explain out across the vocal cord, chords. The sounds resonates in the chest and mouth, and is piercing and modulated at the top, lips, and teeth, and the sound is poor and resonating as well as projected. And while knew there was still more to be discovered, the techniques such as tracings and roughly yelled techniques to her voice, provide for implying a sound that more than singles lose, allow her to use even more substitutes. In seventh grade, Mariah began to tell the world she was going to be a singer and a songwriter. A handful of friends believed in her, but others at school did not. Mariah was not discouraged by the doubts and broken and began to write songs. At the age of 14, she even looked for a work as a singer. She sang so well that local record studios gave her job as backup and background women for aspiring singers who wanted to make a demo. A demo is a recorder made to the understandable singer's talents to recording and companies. Lauren's lyrics set through her loyalty and the devotion even more. She explained to her mother why she didn't need to learn how to do homework. I'm going to be a famous singer and have mine, and have made. Mariah's singing voice, Mariah's singing voice really involved her brother Morgan. For her 16th birthday, he paid for her to make her own demo, which she recorded in New York City on the professional 24-track system. At the recording studio in long musicians named Margaret was called, and as the last minute replacement for one for one of the instrumentalists. After the recording session, Ben and several continually praised Boyle's grace and expressiveness, although he also he also revealed that he wanted to write music and was determined to do something about it. Ben's father owned a cabinet factory in New York City. Ben had set up a record studio in a tiny back room in his father's factory where he intended to write and record songs. He was so taken by Mariah's singing that he immediately invited her to work with him in his studios. Result of clicking as well, says Mariah. Mariah saw Ben as a musician soulmate. She told him that she would like to write songs with him at his studios first. However, she had to ask her mother if she could commit to New York City. The factory in which Ben had his studios was located in the Chelsea Arena of Manhattan, on the west side between the Garment District to the north and Greenwich Village to the south, just a few blocks north of the Greenwich District, what Rosedale the Dealer District, Horn and Gluttony, and legendary Broadway. Luckily, Mariah's mother did not object to her community. Um, my mother was supported and encouraging my singing. Mariah never explained as she travels back and forth between Long Island and New York City to work with Ben. Mariah felt like she was now a part of the city. After she did not get home until after midnight. Her intentions at Harborfield High School in Red Lawn, Suffield. She became known as the Morrises because she was absent from school so often. Even when she made it to her classes, she usually had not completed her homework assignments. Her grades began to fall, and she was often stumbling by conclusion. Talk to her about it. Remember, one associate to the school. She let me know it just wasn't that important in her life because she was going to be a rock star. She was fully convinced that it was going to happen. Never was going to stand in her way. You could talk into her until you can talk to her until you were blue in the face, and it didn't go do any good. It didn't do any good. The school officials were not at all pleased with what they believed to be her unrealistic obligations. Counselors navigated Mariah into the vocational program. She learned son, Carol trained, at least she wouldn't strive. They said she was consistently trained as a binocular in her high school years. Mariah logged in 500 hours learning how to use cosmetics and care for the skin and hair, all the while in the evenings and on the weekends. She and Ben wrote songs in his tiny makeshift studio. Ben said little Mariah. She had the ability just to hear things in the air and start to pollinate songs out there. Often I was often I would sit down and start playing thing, playing something, and from the field of chord, she would start singing in melody lines and coming up in the concrete. The first song that the two recorded together was called "Here We Go Wild Again." Here we go wild again. Wow, what the lyrics were meant, what the melody. With his synthesizer, though, Ben also made intermission tracks. Mariah made several soundtracks, harmonizing her own voice. She was stunned at how wonderful the songs sound on their recording. She became even more determined to make a life in music, but that life had to be in New York City. She moved there in 1987, just days after graduating from Hartfield High. I packed up my stuff and and my posters and tapes, said Mariah Love. I moved into the city. Mariah's mother didn't. She had also gone to the city where she was 17 years old. Life at home was no longer the same anyway. Mariah's mother had remarried. Her sister Allison had a baby and was hooking on drugs. To support her habit, Allison had become a prostitute. Allison seemed lost beyond hope, and she was only 25. Her sister's miserable life hunting Mariah. She had to do everything in her power to escape that same fate. Yep, Mariah moved to Manhattan almost penniless, but with no job waiting for her. Chapter 4. Echo in the City. Mariah moved into a small loft apartment in New York City with two other women her age. For 18 months, she struggled. She finally got a few jobs saving it back up, but the money was not enough to support her in a expensive city like New York. She fell farther and farther behind on her bills. She wore out her window out by hour, including her last pair of shoes. On Friday evening on November 1988, Mariah left her tiny apartment, locked the door, and walked down a flight of rickety stairs. She didn't want to go to the party that night, hosted by Columbus Records, but Mariah had signed back up for R&B singer Bernard Keystar, who was going to the party, and had suggested that she could come too. She come she come too. So Mariah running inside the main door of her apartment building for Brenda to pick her up. Every few minutes she peeked out onto the noisy street and shivered. The night was chilly. I wanted like 2 hours for her freezing. Mariah recalled. Mariah felt a bit foolish. She had put on her old high school club jacket. It essentially did not go with her very shouting black dress. But it was the only one coat she had. While shouting off feeling foolish, saying in the backup was better than some of the jobs she had taken to survive. Being a waitress or a coat checker wasn't bad, but the way the customers treated her was upsetting. She had lost some of those jobs for having an attitude, but in her mind it was the customers with their attitudes. Why did they think they could insult her because she saw them? Her low point in employment was sweeping in up her, shipping in from the floor in a beautiful solo. Mariah had to laugh as she remembered her funny name there, Echo. My demon tape. She certainly remembered. She fumbled in her pose. Yes, the demon tape caster was there. She and Brain McGregor's had labored long and hard in house and his studios to record their four very best songs. Mariah's voice could now range over 7 octaves, almost the entire range in the piano. No one believed her when she said that. Even her doubting mother doubted that remarkable grace. But despite their disbelief, Mariah delighted in ending it along with a questionnaire so high pitched that all the dogs in New York City surely would have scouted and panicked. But our king star finally came. Mariah wanted to complain about waiting so long, but she bit her tongue and went off to the party with it with its usual dishonored assured voices that won on one after hour after hour. However, eating tasty appetizers was a great improvement over the macaroni and cheese she assessed at her apartment. Even though Mariah knew her demon tape was good, she was embarrassed about upholstering these well dresses and well paid executives with it. Suddenly, Mariah realized Bernard K. Stewart has steered her into the princess's Bernard K. Starr has steered her into the princess of sunk common record executives. Should Mariah offer her tape? There was a man who caught her eye. Wow, Silver Dot Street. Skin tied man. Then she hesitated to interrupt. Mariah remembered her dozens of hours of voice training and songwriting. Her high school pearl color jacket never seemed more than a bundle. Certainly Brenda's next and tape for her on her and offering it to the man. It seems like a dream in the midst of the color of voice as the man reaches out for more tape. Out of nowhere, another man snapped the tape out of Brenda's hand. Great, another demo tape. He grumbled under his breath. Under his breath. Thank you. Mariah's voice trailed off as the man with the tape quickly whirled around and disappeared into the crowd. The first man hadn't injected, so Mariah reiterated that they must both work for the Club of the Records. She only her tape written up in a trash can somewhere. She had a sinking feeling that nothing would come of her efforts. If only they would listen to the tape, surely they will learn to sing like the sun someday. But some of Mariah and Ben's songs someday had been imposed brutally. First, they assassinated at a bass and drum line. Then Mariah and Ben took off in solo quick flight, which found itself in hip hop. Once the lyrics and melody were sold, they added and mixed in the tracks. Later at her dining apartment, Mariah was sickling as she figured over something else. She had written her name and phone number on a demo tape. For days this thought clung to her as she felt she had lost her big chance. Monday morning there was a blunt message on Mariah's answering machine. I'm Tony Montoro. Call me. The man grumpily added a telephone number. Mariah was sure that he was someone interested in offering her a wasting job, or maybe a backup gift. Really, she punched in the numbers on her phone. When her secretary answered, Mariah was informed that Tony Montoro was an executive with Columbia. Tony Montoro was an exclusive with Columbia Records. The brought to the man's voice, rumbling hello on the line. Rather, her host up streaming in it. Can't speak to M. Montoro. After she got out his name, he bargained. I think we can make hit records. Was my race Riley. She kissed Skeller and hell Montoro explaining she was the man who took her demo tape at the party. Roland had indeed forgotten to write down her name and phone number on the demo tape. It had taken him the whole weekend to track her down. Roland felt like she was dreaming it, but she forced herself to listen as Walter invited her to his office that afternoon. Her heart pounded rapidly. Rhea called her mother. There was no way she would talk to a record executive without her best friend. Patricia rushed into New York City from Long Island to make Mariah when she heard the news. That afternoon, Mariah felt as if she was sleepwalking and in a daze. But her mother's help Mariah from the Columbia Records building. She trembled deep inside as she presented herself to the secretary outside Tony Montoro's office. Mariah became even more nervous when she learned that Montoro was president of the CBS Records Group, the company that owned Columbia Records. Now she was really frightened. For a moment, she thought maybe this whole thing was an elaborated practical joke. When she and her mother were ushered into Montoro's office, Morello recognized him as the man at the Friday's party, well dressed and about 40 years old. He stood up and invited them to sit down. Morello introduced her mother as the former opera singer she was. Mr. Mottola Grainsville looked Morello over. She wasn't fearless enough to admit she knew her style. She knew his style was a professional aspiration. After all, a recording artist had to look good in videos. Tony Mottola seemed approvingly pleased that Morello was as pretty as her sullen voice. Chapter 5 Reaching for Glory. Morello rarely had a month to herself after her meeting with Tony Mottola. A few days later, she signed a contract with Clover Records. At first, she thought she would be free to produce an album with Ben McGuinness, but she soon realized that would not be the case. Mottola was feeling a new climber and he had been hired to turn the company around. McGuinness Records has stable of heavyweight superstars including Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones, George Michael, Billy Joel, and Barbara Stanley. Many of these artists were recording less and less. For the music industry, the 1980s was the decade for female superstars like Whitney Houston that combining records did not have one entirely female superstar. That gospel band Mariah Daisy, for it was rumored that she was being groomed to be that star. Since Mottola was telling everyone she's incredible, you just won't believe how good she is. Certainly, fame threatening Morel. She worried about losing the freedom she had on her own. I wasn't open to working. I wasn't working to open with a superstar producer, Morel admitted sometime later. Soon Mortala's strategy was unveiled. He turned Morel, he turned Morel over to the promoter Don Eno, the same promoter who had been at Assistar Records in the environment of Whitney Houston's early career. Eno was a proven stunt maker. He began to line up high-powered producers to develop Morel. Recirculator Rick Rayner Lawrence, and Narada Michael Wilder have worked with stars like Smokey Robinson, Michael Jackson, and Whitney Houston. Lost in the tornado and activity was Ben Margolis, as if to console him. Boy got together with him before the producers arrived. The two composers and records and lead song called Voices of Love with this song added to a 12-song demo. Royal hoped to make sure their songs got on an album. Royal was pleased when Voices of Love excited three new producers. They said they were impressed with all the songs she and Ben had written. The instant and songwriter. Each producer also began to develop his own material with Mariah. The very first day he met with Rick Rake in New York. They were, that's got to be a way. She developed a gospel like crying ballad called I Don't Wanna Cry with another Michael Reader. Mariah had to fly to Los Angeles to work with Rick Lawrence, with who she worked, Need Me, and and sink from what above. What also changed voices of what love. He took it from what he called a 50s shuffle to a more up-tempo, danceable song. He went on to add guitars and bass to the drums of Moore and Ben's original arrangement. Month after month, Noel worked on songs for the album, flying from studios in New York to Los Angeles. Sometimes she felt that her strong voice was overpowered by the backup instrumentals, but a witness coach Jack backup singer was not about to complain to professionals who have worked with the likes of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. But Taylor, instead, the album, Be Perfect, the video of the most promising single, Version of Love, was especially important to get right, as symbol video shows on MTV and VH1, we had an enormous impact on the success of the new album. That when Motala was shown the first video of the Version of Love, it didn't like it at all, and on its scribbling. The remaking of the new video was rumored to have cost more than $500,000. The cost of few extra dollars to make it slants in terms of the white amazing. You go ahead and do it, Don Enoch said defensively. In Vulture, people gossiping that Mariah was getting favors she didn't deserve. Brett Lawrence, who had worked with the man mega star Michael Jackson, said the first time he heard Mariah sing, I literally got goosebumps on my arms. After Rick Wake first heard Mariah, he said it was just if it costs a few extra dollars to make it smash in tons of the tons. If it costs a few extra dollars to make it smash in the tons of the white remains, you go ahead and do it. Don Anderson said defensively. In villages, people gossiped that Mariah was getting favors she didn't deserve. But Webb Lawrence, who had worked with megastar Michael Jackson, said the first time he had heard Mariah, I got goosebumps on my arms. Rick Ray, her first heard Mariah said, it was obvious that she was great. Mariah tried to ignore the negative gossip. She knew these accomplishments producers in the music world would not praise her if she didn't deserve it. By early 1990, that the music album was almost finished, simply called Mariah Carey. It delivered 11 songs, written six written by Mariah and Ben Marvelous. Ben will get some glory from the album. It was successful. The album dedicated to my sister Allison. Keep shining. Mariah also thanked those who helped her on the album. At the top of the list was God for the precious gift of music that brings me infinite joy, followed by Tony Moore, Mottola, Bond, Ben, Brenda, Kay, Morgan, and several other individuals who have produced the album. In the spring of 1990, even before the album was released, Mariah was introduced to the public. Mottola had organizing a non-shitty tour to showcase her talent for widow managers and record store buyers. The buyers at the convention going on in Los Angeles were the first to hear Mariah perform live. The energy level in that room was astonishing, said one buyer after the season with Mariah. By the time she finished the brief tour, Mariah hit Mariah had hit her stride. She was 16 now. Mariah sang America the Beautiful in Detroit at the opening song of the National Basketball Association Championship playoffs. She also appeared on the Encino Hall show and the Tonight Show with Jay Lynn. When someone told her Mariah Carey was being promoted harder than any first album since Bruce Springsteen's first album 15 years before, she was amazing. Then Columbia released her album, and by early August it topping the Billboard charts at number 1, where at the same time, Version of Love was the number 1 single. Not only did thousands of copies of Mariah Carey set every day, but 3 additional songs from the album, Love Takes Time, Sunday, and I Don't Wanna Cry, following Version of Love, to become number 1 singles. The album quickly went platinum. Million copies had been sold. It soon was on a to multiple platinum success, was due in great part to the meaningful genius of Tony Mottola and Diana. But most importantly, it was a result of the commitment and musical genius of Mariah Carey. Critics revealed about Mariah's voice, phrase like powerhouse style, soaring from low to the intimate wall, pulling an alto to stand on top of it. A voice that can properly shut glass and then put it back together, and reversing seven actual roller coaster of sound. Boyle left her tiny log apartment and moved into the luxurious 24th floor apartment on the Park's upper side, east side of New York City. At last, she seemed able to indulge in luxuries. Mariah loves animals, so soon her apartment was home for 2 beautiful Persian cats, Ninja and Tom Pickens, and a tiny Luscious terror named Jingo. She decorated the walls with giant posters of 2 tragic stars of the past, Bella Morwan and James Dean. Before her big break, Mariah had one considered herself somewhat tragic too, but the success of her album and her unbelievable strong of number 1 singles changed that. She now seems to be the luckiest person in the world. However, she still works then harder than ever. She made videos for singles as they emerges on the charts, and they're doing reporters by the dozens. Over and over, Mariah had to answer the same questions. Yes, her favorite color was pink, although she liked to wear black. Yes, she loved animals. Her dress style was sex. Her idols were Stevie Wonder and Aretha Franklin. Yes, she favored pasta and salad. She liked to watch comedy or horror movies. She had no middle name. Yes, she adored the beast. She even admitted she thought the right side of her face was more attractive than the left side. But food reporters were happy with the facts. They wanted some sensational news. Number chapter 6. Cinderella Days. Some reporters tried to gull Mariah into saying she was not recording the kind of music she really loved. Some tried to get her to indent her relationship with Tony Mottola was more than business. They preyed into her past. Her childhood was hardship was a badge of honor for her. But he also has some tragic secrets, like her sister Allison's problems with drugs and prostitution, where she led Porter to believe she had only one sibling, her brother Morgan. As always, The subject of which came up. The answer that she was both white and black didn't please reporters. It was if she had to pick one or the other, one or the other. Once she answered testified that she was transracial, technically that was correct because Venezuelan, her Venezuelan father also had Indian, Indian blood. I mean, a human being, a person. If people enjoy my music, that they shouldn't care what I am. So it shouldn't be a sister. She explained in frustration. Despite all the questions, Mariah's life was heavily. In 1990, she was nominated for 5 covered Grammy Awards. In farewell 1991 at New York City Music Hall in New York City. She won two, one for Best New Artist and won the Best Female Pop Vocal. She also sang Version of Love during the singer ceremonies. Just 1 month later, she was in Los Angeles to accept 3 Soul Train Awards for the R&B Unbound divisions, Best New Artist, Best Album by a Female, and Best Single by a Female. She also won Rolling Stone magazine's readers' pick for the Best New Single. Mariah's career was singularly hot. Sadly, her wedding partnership with Ben McGuinness ended over a legal dispute. Her new partner was Walter at Fantasy. The two worked the same way she and Ben had. Walter would play chorus on the keyboard and Mariah would respond with a more or less melody. The two would then collaborate into making a mid-section score. Then Mariah would create the words of lyrics. Carey King, who wrote Natural Women, also partnered with Mariah to write if it's over. Mariah spent most of her time now working in the studio on her next album. Few artists unable to follow up one album right now. Within a year, albums are difficult to produce because they had to be an unfounded statement and not a horrible of different things. With the help of her producers and by her own institution, her work, Mariah created her second album, Emotions, by August of 1991. Emotions was a strong Friday night album. Mariah had insisted on less backup and more R&B sound. Although the album was still basically dance, R&B, Brown like her debut album. By October, the single Emotions had reached the number one, giving Mariah an unpredictable 5 straight number one singles. She just missed her sixth number one single, but Can't Let Go started at number two, but it was becoming clear in the record industry that she might join the ranks of the greatest record artists who ever lived. Up there were her idols, Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, as well as Elvis and the Beatles. All her success had happened in a period of 3 years. Mariah was just 21 years old. Despite her record-selling success, Mariah made few personality appearances and rarely performed popularly. Everyone, everyone wondered when she would tour, but Mariah had spent so much time in studios that the type of performing. Before the pilot scale life, before the pilot scale her, still she was determined to get over this fear and dispel the rumors that her music was manufactured by sign gamers. In early 1992, she got a chance to perform in public without exhausted herself on a tour, she decided to perform on MTV, Unplugged, Unplugged, a very popular television program. For 3 years, she had been backing up by her own voice, cementizing drum machines. Now she will perform with real singers and musicians. On March 16, 1992, in New York City, Mariah went on stage dressed in all black jeans, necktie top, short jacket, and boots. She was accompanied by four singers, fire horns, drums, bass, guitar, piano, and 10 singers. The musicians and singers, the musicians and singers backed her up in voice combinations. She won a vocation at driving and performances. She began with Emotions, followed by It's Over, and Make It Happen. The headline of the show was her rendition of the old Jackson 5 hit, I'll Be There. By June of 1992, I'll Be There by Mariah I'll Be There gave Mariah her sixth number one single. After her various performances, no one thought Mariah was manufactured in the studio. She was truly regular as Crudup. Her only real competition, Whitney Houston, was solely into movies now. Whitney had not released any new albums since I'm Your Baby Tonight in 1990. As much as she enjoyed sharing her gift with the Indians, Mariah soon discovered one of those downsellers to being a superstar. Many celebrities are sued for false reasons, just in the hope they will make settlement payments in order to avoid bad publicly, and Mariah was now a target. The Rush lawsuit came from Mariah's stepfather. He and Mariah's mother were separated and divorced same century. He sued Mariah, claiming he has supported her in the assassination or shelter her every intentional income. Mariah instead that was untrue. There was also several international lawsuits, streaming in from songwriters, claiming she has stole their songs. Mariah found some close solutions in the fact that her real father had not taken any advantage of her fame and wealth. He may have become distant, but he was not a hypocrite. There she reflected in the mission. He's the one person in my life that never asked me for anything. On another occasion, she said, he has not come out of the woodwork saying stupid things about me. He's a good person. With the public finding out she was involved with Tony Motola, Wiley really became lightly involved. Motola had recently divorced, so reporters speculation why had broken up his marriage. Since he was her boss, reporters also speculated Mariah's success was due to her romantic involvement with him. Reporters also hinted that she didn't really write songs and that she was given credit only because Motola insisted on it. Writing nasty intelligence about Mariah became very fashionable, but she tried not to let them bother her. The truth was that Mariah was smarter with Tony Motola, whereas her mother had once been her mentor, her confidant, her protector, and her best friend. Tony now fired those roles and more. She left for music, and Tony knew music as few others did. He was a man of the war too, was more interested in travel than man who was own age. He entertained her dreams of a huge mission, and the fast estate, the vast estate with horses and other pets. He often held an honest relationship, marriage, many long performances, actresses, singers, figure skaters, many their total mortals, and Mariah was happy to share both her performances, professional and personal lives with the same man. It just so happened, she explained. Tony is just the greatest person. He knows so much. He's funny. I can't imagine anybody else who would be so supportive and so understanding and helpful. He lets me up. Everybody who knows, everybody who knows us realize that we're right for each other. Her Cinderella life continued. She was not recording her next album. She was planning on her wedding, which she bolted after the 1981 royal wedding of Prince Charles of England and Lady Diana Spencer. After months of planning, the wedding finally took place on June the 5th, 1993, at St. Thomas Episcopal St. Cardinal in New York City. Among the 300 invited guests were Mariah's family, including her father and celebrities such as Laura Estefan, Bruce Springsteen, Robert De Niro, Billy Joel, Tony Danza, and Barbara Streisand, and security police reportedly numbered 200. Mariah walked down the aisle in a pale ivory, off-the-shoulder gown with a Barbary bodice designed by Vera Ring. On her head was a tiny trail by an English tulip spangled with small stones. Her gown's 27-foot train was worn by six bridesmaids. After the ceremony, 47 flower girls showing Mariah and Tony Warhol's Peltor. Reporters speculated the ratings cost $500,000, marveling that her stunning puns alone cost $1,000. The estimate didn't include her six-color, pearl-shaped diamond engagement ring. All Mariah could say there was, when I look back and think about it, it's so unbelievable. I mean, it really is like Cinderella. For 5 years, she had been blessed, and her good fortune showed no signs of stopping. Chapter 7. Always Growing. Shortly after their Hawaiian honeymoon, Mariah and Tony returned to their luxury half-raised apartment in New York City, and Mariah's new album, Music Box, came out. In this album, Mariah attempted to suppress her vocal politicizing his critics judged her performances too laid back, too cool. Many of the songs not passing. They said the result disappointing for her fans, though their album sold well, delivering two more number 1 hits, Hero and Dream Lover. Mariah now has an externally 8 number 1s, and she has sold millions of these of her 4 albums. However, Mariah did not just want money, she also wanted to grow as an artist, and finally she was going to answer changes that she could not tour. She now remembered her first live concert in Miami with Dwayne and had to walk up this ramp onto the stage, and I heard this defense screen and it was kind of like everything in my life. This whole incredible window I've been going through it. It had all the leading up to that insane moment. And there I was. The huge Miami arena was made of concrete, So sound bouncing off the walls, and then river bell, a series of echoes back at Mariah. Nevertheless, she felt so performed well to her instrument, a few critics trashing the performances. Television news jumped on the bad reviews, reported she had failed. Mariah suppressed the feeling she was being wrongly. She just worked harder to prepare for her next concert, no Boston. She was going to make sure no critic would dare said she has not succeeded. In what? The Boston Globe held her concert there as spectacular. White explained, I didn't come out doing clubs like most people, so I wasn't ready. She added with great satisfaction. Now I am. But while trumpetingly finished her tour, she had added another dismissal to her career, and now decided to back off her Catholic schedule. Her one recording album for 1994 was a Christmas album. During her time off, she became involved in the Fresh Air Fund, a program guiding underprivileged New York City kids an opportunity to experience the outdoors. Each summer, the Fresh Air Fund gives about 3,000 children the chance to hike, canoe, swim, and fish at 5 camps north of the city. Besides having fun, the kids develop a southeasterner and leadership skills. Wyatt played $1 million and she flew consistently versus the summer camp because of her great grudges. One camp is now called Camp Boyle. Not far from Camp Boyle is the town of Bedford, New York, where the tiny and Mariah possesses a 65-acre estate in 470 hills and lots of pastures. Boyd exceptionalism began democratic the tutelage of the huge hilltop missions. She also added horses, including a fundamental named Misty, Cats, Ninja, and Tom Paxons, and a pack of development dogs that included Gingo and a fallible terrier named Jack. I'm this poor kid from Long Island, and now this, Bavara. I couldn't have made it any better if I created it myself. Well enjoyed her life as a referee princess of pop. She still recorded in studios and occasionally granted interviews. In one interview, Mariah said, most people, especially women, had to go through years of working with men who tell them what to do and what are the songs and produce everything, and a woman just sit back and say, I never wanted to do that. Even before I got my record deal, I had a lot of sons. But in fact, Tony Motola seemed more and more controlling. He criticized Moala, Chloe Moala, what, and told her she shouldn't listen to rap. He told her professionally he did not want her to get into hip hop album music. There is a cross between rap and R&B. His control was never more evident than when Mariah returned from the Bedford Interstate or the New York apartment, and Montana had someone follow her. Mariah began to feel like a prisoner. Is it basically that 24-year-old woman who had only millions of dollars was not really free? She threw herself into her next album, Daydreaming. She didn't find Tommy and they got hip hop and songs. Daydream was praised for its strong selection of songs, and Mariah was praised for her passion. One Sweet Day, a song that she performed with Boys and Men too. Boys to Men took off as a single and clinched the top spot on the charts. She did Fantasy and Always Be My Baby. Mariah and I had an oscillating one number one one singles. She had also sold a mind-boggling 80 million albums. With Daydream, Mariah became an adventurous with remixes and performances with other singers. The music more like her new direction, much much the same way she had always in Maryland, the first Sally was Stevie Wonder. Mariah wanted to make another move, one that Tony Motola strongly opposed. She wanted to act in movies. Soon Mariah and Tony argued more and more. The public did not learn the details thereof. But by the end of 1996, Mariah and Tommy had separated. In early 1997, Warner began taking acting lessons and working on songs for their new album called Butterfly. Hip hop and rap producer Sean Puffin Combs became involved in the album. Mottola may have disapproval, but the campaigning, club of the records, he did not enter. He did not interfere. After its release in mid 1997, Butterfly gathered Mariah many new fans and satisfies in the older ones as well. Many critics like the Eagle album, Urban Sound of Butterfly. The single Honey was to number one, giving Mariah the most number one songs by any female soloist in history. The video on Honey, showing Mariah escape from a gangster, cost quiet store, being thought that it represents Mariah, especially from Tony Motola. Not long thereafter, My All reached number one. After their separation, when Motola was asking how he felt about Mariah's success, he gradually responded, Mariah is a world-class superstar, and I remain her biggest fan. Mariah will also remain in a corridor towards Tony public, or Tony's controlled it natural, she said. If you experience one than someone else, it's a natural tendency to try to protect the other person from the things that you've gone through. Then she added, but now I have to learn things for myself. I have to experience things for myself. I have to make my own decisions and live by them. By only 1998, Mariah and Tony had divorced. She finally up her acting plans by being cast in several films. The first film, is a comedy called The Bachelor with Chris O'Donnell. Another sketch film is a spy spoof called Double O Soul, which Mariah shares the big screen with comedy Chris Tucker. Another movie, All That Gutless, is themed revolving as a legend, as a showcase for Mariah. The star continues to burn bright and strong. That's all for the movie for now. That's all for the book that we read. It's called Mariah Carey, the book. I hope you like this book and I hope you like this video. So subscribe, like my video on YouTube, and I'll see you probably next time. Till then, take care everybody. I'm Joseph Crudup.